following episode of Dave's Video Graveyard contains spoilers and naughty words. Listener discretion is advised.
Have you ever bought or rented a videotape that wasn't quite right? It may have been a pirate copy.
Ratings advice. Use it. It's on every...
We're going streaking!
Dave's Video Graveyard.
That guy in a little coat.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
I'm not a smart man.
Shut up! One tubby.
What's wrong with him?
My first thought would be alive.
Why so serious?
Wise man say forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for late pizza.
Hail to the king, baby.
Hey, Ma! The meatloaf! We want it now! The meatloaf!
Of all the radio shows in the world, this is definitely one of them. Dave's Video Graveyard on 100.5 WOWFM.
Okay, you people sit tight, hold the fort, and keep the home fires burning. And if we're not back by dawn, call the president.
It is 100.5 WOWFM, Dave's Video Graveyard. A massive pleasure to be with you. It is Monday night, 8 p.m, and it is time once again for a Guest Choice Special. This evening, we are joined by a very special guest. Obviously, last week we weren't here, but we're definitely going to be making up for it this week with a fantastic Guest Choice Special. Right now, I'm joined by Madeleine Donner. How are you?
Hi, hello Dave. I'm very well, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. Now, for those who don't know who you are, give us a little bit of a background on who exactly you are.
Oh God.
Don't have an existential crisis.
Well, I'm Madeleine Donner, and I I suppose I would call myself an artist of sorts. I am a creative person. I love doing all kinds of creative things, in particular poetry. I've been really getting into writing poetry the past couple of years, and that's just the thing that that excites me and makes me feel like alive when I'm doing it, and I also love to get out in nature. I'm a real nature woman. I love the moon. I don't know what else to say about myself.
No, that's totally fine. You're painting a very good picture. Now, how did you experience someone else's poetry and that set you off, or you came to it yourself? How did you go down that path?
I think I started kind of writing poetry when I was in high school, like just a little bit, you know. I guess I was influenced by songwriters, bands I was listening to, and then my dad, that's right, my dad's quite the poet, and he used to write a lot of love poems for my mum, and so he was quite the romantic, and
setting the bar way too high for the rest of us.
Yeah. So that's where I got influenced, to write poetry, and then I've been writing more in the past few years with some recent inspiration I've had. So,
do you ever revisit? Because obviously we all went through our creative /emo phases in high school. Do you ever revisit stuff from back then and go, "What was I thinking?"
Oh, like stuff I wrote?
Yeah, stuff that you wrote. Are you pretty happy with it?
Oh, on my pencil cases, it was like, so-and-so is sexy. Like, I love Blink-182, things like that. I've got some of my old stuff from high school, and it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
That's hilarious. Now, you had to make a list of 10 movies this evening.
Yes.
I'm constantly hearing from guests how difficult that process is.
Yes.
Was it the same for you?
Yeah, it was really hard. There was a few that I knew were definitely going to go on the list, and then I wrote out a massive list, and I was like, oh my God, I've got to narrow this down to 10, and so that was hard. And putting them in order as well. I knew my number one my all-time favorite number one. I knew, but yeah, it was ordering them was really difficult.
Well, this evening the order doesn't matter. We can just take it as it goes and see how we go, and go all over the shop. Now, we were lucky enough last year, a peek behind the curtain, to be joined by your very lovely sister.
Yes.
And I did notice, not exactly so much with movies, but there is a fair bit of overlap in theme of the movies that you guys have both picked.
Mm-hmm.
So is it safe to say that a lot of your movie watching was spent together?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. And, well, there's actually 5 siblings in the family. But, yeah, we do have very similar taste in movies and music and everything. So
Awesome. Now, here's a little bit of an impromptu quiz, just to get a bit of an idea of who you are when it comes to movies.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just a would you rather. Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings?
Harry Potter.
Star Wars or Game of Thrones?
Oh, look, I've never actually seen Star Wars before, so I guess I'd have to say Game of Thrones.
That's fine. Adam Sandler or Eddie Murphy?
Adam Sandler.
Nice. Home and Away or Neighbours?
Neighbours.
Nice. Mean Girls or Dirty Dancing?
Dirty Dancing.
Dirty Dancing. Nice. And I've just exited out of that, so that's fantastic. Let me just get back into it. Here we go. Back into it. Batman or Spider-Man?
Oh, that's hard. Spider-Man.
Salma Hayek or Salma Hayek?
So, is that a trick question?
It is a trick question. Everyone we put up against Salma Hayek was losing every time.
Right.
I was like, it's not fair. Brad Pitt or Leonardo DiCaprio?
Oh, Leo.
Leo,
all the
nice.
way.
And which Leo are you going for? Because it can be your favourite Leo out of any film.
Oh, God. Well, I mean, he's... I think
It's Gilbert Grape, isn't it?
No. He gets better and better with age, Leo. Like, he's just...
I have so much respect for Leonardo DiCaprio because he was part of the 90s teen heartthrob generation, right? Everyone thought he was just a hot guy.
Yeah.
He almost, I feel like, embraced and made a conscious decision to embrace the dad bod, distance himself from being known just as a heartthrob.
Mm-hmm.
He now looks like a flesh-coloured Kermit the Frog. But he's still such an amazing actor that you now notice that. You notice him as the actor now rather than that's the guy with his shirt open in Romeo and Juliet.
Yes.
So I got a lot of respect for that. Shawshank Redemption or Stand By Me?
Oh, I don't actually know if I've seen either
That's
of
fine.
those.
That's totally fine. Edward Scissorhands or The Nightmare Before Christmas?
Oh, Edward Scissorhands.
Arnold Schwarzenegger or Sylvester Stallone?
Oh, no. I'm not too keen on either of them.
That's fine. That's fine. That's still an answer. The Witches or Matilda?
The Witches.
Good answer. Good answer. The Lost Boys or Interview the Vampire?
Interview with the Vampire.
Nice. Aggro or Cheese TV?
Oh, my God. Aggro.
Good answer. Aggro really doesn't win that one very often, so it's great to hear. Pizzas or burgers?
Pizza.
Good answer. Great answer. Ninja Turtles or Ghostbusters?
Ninja Turtles.
Good answer. Friends or Seinfeld?
Friends.
Nice, nice. Friends is losing that one by a lot.
Oh, no.
And the final question, choose one movie that the entire population of the world has to watch once.
Oh, my God.
It's a lot of power to wield.
Well, that's really hard. I feel like, actually, Jurassic Park.
Nice.
Jurassic Park.
Great answer. Very safe answer and a very good answer. Awesome. So tonight we're going to be going through your top 10 favourite films of all time.
Mm-hmm.
What was can you think of some honourable mentions that didn't make it onto the list or were edged out?
Yes, actually. I have...
Now, one of your original choices was Original Sin. I believe that's the Angelina Jolie movie. Is that the right one?
Yes, Original Sin, yes. Angelina Jolie and Antonio Banderas. I love that film. And those two together, like on screen, they're just like fire.
I bet. I bet.
So it's a good film. And not many people know about it. Like it's not... Yeah, so I almost put it on my list, but that it came off, so...
Is there anything else that stands out that didn't make it onto the list?
Romeo and Juliet.
Okay, yep.
The Leonardo version. Also, look, I have to say, the Twilight Saga.
It's a short episode this evening. Thank you for joining me.
I was a huge fan, okay? I've got all the books. I read all the books like a few times over. But I was like, you know what? There's too many movies that are better than the Twilight Saga. But it was almost on my list. Almost.
That's fine. The funniest thing I always find with like Twilight, everyone goes on about how Edward sparkles in the daylight and he's glittery.
Yes.
Rewatching one of the coolest 80s vampire movies of all time being The Lost Boys recently. Mm-hmm. And there's a scene where one of the vampires gets staked and all blood and everything comes out, but also it's all glittery and stuff. And I was like, well, really, the coolest vampires were also glittery. So anyway, that was just a crappy observation.
Yeah.
Now, anyone listening this evening can join in the conversation. Let us know how you're doing with your choices or how badly you're doing. We'll get a lot of people telling you you're wrong, so they can do that by jumping on our social media, Dave's Video Graveyard on WOWFM, whether it be Twitter, Instagram or Facebook. Just go looking and you can join in the fun. So we're going to get into our first song this evening. This is 100.5 WOWFM.
What is it?
It's a gun rack.
A gun rack? A gun rack. Yeah, right. I don't even own a gun, let alone many guns that would necessitate an entire rack. What am I gonna do with a gun rack?
Talking movies on the radio. This is Dave's Video Graveyard on 100.
There's a difference between like and love. Because I like my Skechers, but I love my Prada backpack.
Bianca Stratford is the most popular girl at Padua High.
You're asking me out?
I'm down. I've got the 411, and you are not going out and getting jiggy with some boy. I don't care how dope his ride is.
Her sister, Kat, is something else entirely.
People perceive you as somewhat tempestuous. Heinous witch is the term used most often.
The only thing they have in common...
I am the only girl in school who's not dating.
Oh, no, you're not. Your sister doesn't date.
...is one simple rule.
Okay, you can date. When she does.
But she's a mutant. What if she never dates?
Then you'll never date. Oh, I like that.
For Cameron,
no one will go out with her.
It's a problem.
Would any of you be interested in dating Katarina Stratford?
Maybe if we were the last two people alive, and there were no goats. Are there goats?
For Patrick...
Hey, what about him? I heard he ate a live duck once. Everything but the beak and feet.
It's a challenge.
So you two are going to help me tame the wild beast? Absolutely.
And for Kat... It's about time.
Well, come on, think about it. Me with my arm around you.
You covered in my vomit.
I'd like to discuss tomorrow night with you. Now, as you know, it's the prom.
Touchstone Pictures presents...
Stay cool, bro. Yes, you.
A story for every guy who's ever tried.
You never give up, do you?
Was that a yes?
No.
Well, then was that a no?
No.
Every girl who's ever hoped.
You're not as vile as I thought you were.
This is not good.
And anyone who's ever been taken completely by surprise.
She kissed me.
Where?
In the car.
You're concentrating awfully hard considering it's gym class.
10 Things I Hate About You.
It is Dave's Video Graveyard as we go through Maddie's 10 favourite films of all time, starting things off with the coolest thing that William Shakespeare ever did, and it was to write The Taming of the Shrew, which inspired this movie. We are talking about 10 Things I Hate About You from 1999, starring one very young, very amazing Heath Ledger, Julia Stiles, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's in there, super young also. It is a fantastic movie, made for $30 million, went on to make $60 million. Why did you choose this movie?
This, God, I loved this movie, and I've seen it so many times, and I I used to have a huge crush on Joseph Gordon-Levitt, actually.
Third Rock from the Sun era, yeah.
Yes, yeah. And so, actually, yeah, when I saw this, I wasn't super into Heath Ledger. But now, you know, in my older years, I came to appreciate him a lot more. But yeah, and it's just, I don't know, just something about this movie. It's really funny and cute. Like, I love a good love story, you know. So yeah, I had to put it on the list.
Yeah. Now, do you remember the first time you saw this? Is this something you saw back in the late 90s, or is it something you've found later over the years, or something you constantly revisit because you love it since then? Or
Definitely, I did. I think I saw it at the movies with my friends, like in grade 7 or something.
Oh, bragging about having friends.
Yeah, I don't have many, but
that's fine. I have none. That's what this show is all about, trying to make friends. So haven't made any yet, but we'll see. I really love the way this movie is like executed. It's you know, because you look back on movies from the 90s now and it's like everyone's like, oh, that movie's problematic, which if you think about the bet in this movie, it kind of is, but it's not the biggest driving force of the movie. Like, I love so many scenes from this movie, and I'm sure, I can't speak for everyone, but I know for my wife that if Heath Ledger was to have sung a song for her at school, it would have gone very well for Heath Ledger, that's, to say.
Yes.
It's weird because obviously we lost Heath Ledger, and it's such a shame because you look back at things like this and Two Hands and even like, you know, Batman and stuff, and you realise that we were kind of robbed of the roles that he would have gone on to play as an older, like as he aged and matured.
Yeah, right.
Because, you know, he was kind of, he wasn't in his prime, but he was on his way there when he passed away. And you think about like the movies he could have played as, you know, in his mid-40s into his 50s and stuff. So it really is a shame that we lost him. My wife quite often brings up this movie because apparently the way I am with my 5-year-old daughter is very similar to the way the father in this movie is.
Oh, wow.
I love the element where he makes her wear the pregnancy belly before she goes out on a date.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. Do you revisit it often?
I do. I have it on DVD.
Ooh.
So, I never grow tired of it. Yeah, and it's just a real feel-good movie, you know? Like, it's, you know, I don't end up, you know, crying, like, or anything at the end. I'm just happy when I watch it. It's just wonderful.
And in 2009, believe it or not, they decided to make a TV series of 10 Things I Hate About You.
Oh, my gosh.
The only returning actor was Larry Miller, the dad I was just talking about. He reprised his role. It didn't do very well. It ran for 13 episodes. 20 were shot, but only 13 aired because it wasn't very good. Which is a shame because I think all the elements were there for a great TV show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think now, if it was like a made-for-Netflix kind of series, it could work.
Yeah.
Because it's just essentially a high school drama.
Yeah. I never heard of this TV series.
Yeah. Obviously, it's not worth chasing down from what I'm reading.
Yeah.
Did you like a lot of the other movies that were similar? Like, because, you know, this quite often gets bunched in with a lot of the, like, rom-coms around that area. So, like, the She's All That, Can't Hardly Wait, a lot of those type of movies. Are there any of those movies on your radar, or this is the one?
This is the one. Like, I watched those when I was younger, but they didn't really stand out, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. We do a thing on our social media where we get two videos and verse each other.
Mm-hmm.
And this went up against, I believe it was Josie and the Pussycats.
Oh,
and everyone was so conflicted because they're both two fantastic movies.
I never got into Josie and the Pussycats.
No? Well, that's fine. You would have voted for this one.
Definitely.
Speaking of social media, you have a lot of things going on when it comes to social media, whether it be your creations, your poetry. Where can people check out that?
On my Instagram. Sorry, I had to think about it. I've got my personal page, like with like my modelling and dancing that I do. My poetry page can be found at Words by Madeleine Donner, and then I've started up some craft, which is it's called Moon of 3. So people can check that out if they like.
Very awesome. Well, while we're talking about 10 things I hate about you, I think it's only fair we hear something off the soundtrack. So This is 100.5 WOW FM.
What is this?
A center for ants? What? How can we be expected to teach children to learn how to read if they can't even fit inside the building? The center has to be at least 3 times bigger than this.
Talking movies on the radio. This is Dave's Video Graveyard on 100.5 WOW FM.
It is Dave's Video Graveyard, a guest choice special this evening. An absolute pleasure to be with you. Don't forget to check us out on all the social medias to follow along with what's happening. Dave's Video Graveyard on Twitter, Instagram, and on Facebook. Now, we are joined by Maddie taking us through her 10 favourite films of all time, as well as a little bit of live poetry this evening.
Oh, yes.
I won't let you know when.
Okay.
All of a sudden, I will throw to you and... there will be a single spotlight on you. The whole room will go black, and you will be the only thing happening at that point in time. So no pressure at all.
Okay.
But if you do not do well, that's the end. The end of the show, the end of everything. I'll make sure you get fired from your job, wherever you may work.
Okay.
It's all over.
Okay.
No pressure whatsoever, though. But that'll be coming up this evening.
Thank you.
Now, we are going back now to 2005. You have picked one of the highest grossing franchises of all time, and I let you bend the rules because you've chosen the entire franchise, but you did say your notable favourite film was from 2005. We are talking about Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire.
Yes.
Tell us about your life and your connection to Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. Okay, so yes, Harry Potter was a big part of my teen years. I actually have never read the books.
That is so good to hear because I left high school in 2003. I graduated year 12 and I've read 6 books since then.
Yeah.
So no judgment for the fact you haven't read books. That's an endearing thing here on this show.
Yeah. So it was hard for me. I'm like, which one would I choose as my favourite out of all of the Harry Potters? But the Goblet of Fire, I think a big reason I like this one is because it has Robert Pattinson in it. I'm quite a bit of a Robert Pattinson fan, I must say.
I feel terrible because I'm that guy that has always given Twilight crap and thought that he was a one-note actor. But watching movies like Good Times, The Drover, the upcoming Batman, all these movies... even as much as I didn't like the movie Tenet, he was so good in that movie that I'm like, he is a fantastic actor. I hate having to go back on, what I've perceived as, he's the worst. He's just he's a talentless heartthrob. And then to realize he's essentially going to be the next like Gary Oldman because he's just, he disappears into the roles he plays. Like, I don't know if you've seen the movie Good Times.
No.
But he plays like a dude strung out on drugs that's like, just getting in more and more trouble as the movie goes. And he's so fantastic in it. And there was another movie, I cannot even think what it was called, but it was him and his father was played by Pierce Brosnan. And they were both very violent to each other all the time. And it was just, he disappeared into the role. You could not watch that movie and go, that's the guy that played Edward. It was so far removed. But anyway, the Goblet of Fire, is that because I'm so ignorant and I really upset my son because he's a massive fan of Harry Potter. And much like my dad used to do for Star Wars, I don't give any respect to Harry Potter in a way of like getting all the names wrong and stuff and being like, how's Gringlebonk? Like, and just making up the most stupid stuff. Is this the one with the Tri-Tournament?
Yeah, the Triwizard Tournament.
Triwizard Tournament.
Yeah.
I have seen this one.
It's a good one. It's and I think it's because the later movies, they did start getting a lot darker. I was going to say, serious.
On this show, when we've had guests pick Harry Potter, they typically edge towards the scary one, which I believe was Deathly Hallows 1 or 2, one of those ones.
Yeah.
And this one wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
But one thing I've got to give respect for, apparently, with the books and the movies, each movie is a year of their time at Hogwarts. And I was like, that's actually a really cool way of doing it.
Yeah.
And they were kind of locked in because once they made the first, they had to just keep going because these actors were just aging up and up and up. It's won everything ever. Like Harry Potter wins so many awards over its time. Daniel Radcliffe did such an amazing job as Harry Potter, and then also managed to parlay into a serious acting career after it, which is always a good thing, much like Robert Pattinson has. Did you cry in this movie?
In this one? Probably. I cry in movies quite easily. I get quite emotional. I can't actually remember what happens in this particular film.
Is this the one where he drowns? That's the question I have. Does Robert Pattinson die, in, spoiler alert, in this one or a different one?
Yes, he does die. Yes.
In the Triwizard Cup, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay, yes, I did cry. Yes. Now I remember.
You didn't see any of the ones after it because you were just so invested.
I was heartbroken.
How often, because it's quite a daunting task, because it's like 9 movies or something. How often do you revisit these, or you don't?
Not often. I do have them all on DVD.
Humble brag.
But yeah, they're not, I guess because they're quite long films, so you really have to commit, like if you want to, watch them. But yeah, I guess sometimes I get in a real Harry Potter mood and I'm like, okay, yes, it's Harry Potter. But no, I haven't revisited them in quite some time, actually.
And pardon my ignorance, because your answer is going to be not mean nothing to me, but it won't change my perspective of you as a person. What house are you?
Oh, I am a Hufflepuff.
Right.
Hufflepuff? Yeah, I am a Hufflepuff.
And give me a bit of background on that. Is that the Alan Rickman one, or is that... No, that's Slytherin, isn't it?
That's Slytherin. Yeah, Hufflepuff. There's not really much focus on the Hufflepuff house in the movies. I'm assuming there is more in the books. If I actually bothered to read the books. But I did a quiz, the official quiz online where you find out, which one you are. And apparently I'm a Hufflepuff. I was a bit disappointed because I think I wanted to be Gryffindor because I wanted to be in with Harry. But unfortunately, no.
I took the same quiz and I got completely disinterested and didn't get to the end of it.
Oh my gosh.
That's my house. I'll go live with Hagrid. I'll just live in his heart with him, and we'll talk about the time he was in Nuns on the Run and Goldeneye, the movie. It's pretty funny. What about the Fantastic Creatures and Where to Find Them movies? Did they register on your list?
Yes, I did. I think I watched. Was there 2 of those?
There was 2 of them, I believe.
Okay, I watched the first one.
They fired Johnny Depp, or they... Colin Farrell turned into Johnny Depp or something. I just didn't care enough because the actor that plays Newt Scamander just has the weirdest face.
He does.
And I know I'm not judging, but watching it was so distracting with my kids. I was like, I can't watch this guy's face for 2 whole movies. He's just not conveying emotion. He's just weirdly. He looks like a balled up fist, but that's just my opinion. Coming from the male model that I am, that's just my opinion. How badly would you like to go to Wizarding World?
I would die. Like that would be incredible. Yeah.
Because the equivalent for me, because I'm a Star Wars nerd, I know I don't appear to be one. My biggest fear would be to go to that kind of thing because I know you'd spend every cent you had once you got there.
Yeah.
I need that. I need that. I need that. How much Harry Potter merch do you have?
I do have Hogwarts pajamas. That I found in the kids department at Best and Less.
Lovely.
And they fit me quite well. What else do I have? I think that's all I've got. Just the PJs.
That's fine.
And maybe a t-shirt as well. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Let's jump back into a little bit of music here on 100.5 WOW FM.
See, in this world, there's 2 kinds of people, my friend. Those with loaded guns and those who dig. You dig.
All the movies, none of the knowledge. This is Dave's Video Graveyard on 100.5 WOW FM.
What do you say we get started?
So you want me to tell you the story of my life? I'll tell you my story. I'll tell you all of it. I'm flesh and blood, but not human. I haven't been human for 200 years.
From the novel by Anne Rice. From Neil Jordan, the director of The Crying Game.
I've come to answer your prayers. Life has no meaning anymore, does it?
His name is Lestat.
But what if I could give it back to you? Pluck out the pain and give you another life. One you could never imagine. I can see you lying on a bed of satin.
He chose one man. He gave him infinite power. Eternal life. And a daughter who would be forever young.
This is the only real evil left.
And then he took the light of day.
You're a vampire who never knew what life was until it ran out in a red gush over your lips.
I can't stand this any longer.
You made us what we are, didn't you?
God kills indiscriminately, and so shall we.
You like dying? You condemn me to hell! Monster.
One happy family.
He turned weak. End her suffering and yours. But do not doubt, you are a killer.
I want some more.
Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, Stephen Ray, Antonio Banderas, Kirsten Dunst, and Christian Slater. Interview with the Vampire.
Dave's Video Graveyard, and I must warn everybody, it's sexy vampire time because Madeleine has chosen one of her favourite films of all time. It is from 1994. It is the American Gothic horror film Interview with the Vampire, featuring super sexy Tom Cruise and super sexy Brad Pitt. Why did you choose this movie?
This is this movie. Okay, my all-time favourite vampire movie, and really started my obsession for vampires. So yeah, I can't go past this in terms of vampire movies. It's just, yeah, incredible.
I remember seeing this one, like, it would have been like maybe 95 after it came out in Australia and stuff.
Mhm.
And I remember watching it with my older sister because Mum and Dad used to let us hire whatever we wanted.
Yeah.
And I remember watching this movie, and one thing that always stood out to me was like, Tom Cruise is such a bad guy. Then revisiting this one last year of all times, I actually watched this one during lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
I realised that he's not really that bad of a guy. It's actually Louis, played by Brad Pitt, that's a real whingy bitch, essentially. Like, he really drains, literally and figuratively, just drains all the energy out of Tom Cruise's character.
Yeah.
Because really, it's so funny when you watch something as a kid and then watch it as an adult and you change your perspective, because I was like, no, he's been given everything by Lestat.
Yeah.
Whereas as a kid, I was like, Lestat's so bad.
Yeah, right.
One of the coolest practical effects, and I stand by this, from 1994, the scene where Kirsten Dunst's character is put in the well with the lady and they turn to ash.
Yeah.
It looks incredible to this day.
Mhm.
Like, I watched it on like high definition recently, and just the way they did that effect looks amazing. Antonio Banderas turns up in this movie. Christian Slater. It sounds like a Smash Hits poster book of like, here's the hottest guys of all time. 1994. Christian Slater, Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, Antonio Banderas. Yeah. How often do you revisit this one? Because it's a very long movie.
Yes, I have to really be in the mood to watch it. It is a very long film. But I think, I watch it maybe like once a year or something, like when I'm really, wanting to. It's just, it's that real classic vampire movie. So, I don't watch it that often.
Yep.
Yeah, because it's so long. But when I'm in that mood, definitely.
Awesome. And did it inspire any of your poetry? Is there much? Was there much sexy vampire poetry that came out from you after enjoying this movie?
No, actually. You know what? I don't think I've written any poetry about vampires as obsessed as I am. I can say I named a Barbie doll of mine after Claudia because I was so obsessed with her. Like, I just thought she was so gorgeous. And maybe I wanted to be her, I think, when I was a kid. So yeah, the Barbie doll. Okay.
And see, that's another thing. Like, as a kid, I remember watching and go, how good would it be to be immortal as a kid?
Yes.
And then you watch it as an adult and be like, that would be a nightmare because, you never get to experience any adult things. I do particularly, I always really love the part where Claudia decides to like lash out and cut all her hair off.
Yeah.
And it instantly grows back.
Yeah. It's so sad. It's like, it's a very heartbreaking film. But really beautiful at the same time.
Awesome. We're going to play a song, get to your next movie, and then we'll do the high fidelity quiz that we completely forgot to do at the start of this evening.
Okay.
This is 100.5 WOW FM.
What were they, psychos? Or? They look like psychos? Is that what they look like? They were vampires. Psychos do not explode when sunlight hits them. I don't give up how crazy they are.
Talking movies on the radio. This is Dave's Video Graveyard on 100.5 WOW FM.
Only after dark.
Madeleine Donner is dancing in the studio, but it's radio, so that's totally fine. No one knows. You've chosen a sequel because you just chose the film, The Interview of the Vampire. Now the follow-up to Anne Rice's Vampire Chronicles is The Queen of the Damned from 2002. Tom Cruise is out. Stuart Townsend is in. There's actually a story. He was meant to be one of the main characters in Lord of the Rings.
Oh, wow.
And he was a real dick on set, and they fired him like the day before the filming started. And he would have been like, he was replaced by Viggo Mortensen, however you say his name. But that's pretty funny. He could have been the biggest actor on earth, but he was such a dick.
Wow.
Anyway, 2002, it is time once again for sexy vampires. But this time we also got new metal. Jonathan Davis from Korn was in the movie, which always made me excited at the time. Lots and lots of new metal. One of my favourite soundtracks of all time because I'm obsessed with new metal. Why did you choose this movie?
Vampires. Another movie that
sexy vampire.
Yes, sexy. And Stuart Townsend, he makes such a beautiful Lestat, much better than Tom Cruise.
I think so. He doesn't have the middle tooth that we just discussed that you will never not see now.
Yeah, and the soundtrack. Oh my God, I was obsessed, absolutely obsessed, and because I was super into Korn and all that kind of music when I was young when this came out. So yeah, for me,
don't lie, you never grow out of that kind of thing.
No.
New metal forever.
I do revisit it, every now and then, yeah.
It's so funny how often like I'll slip in one of the songs off this soundtrack and it's kind of seamless with all the other crap that I play.
Yeah.
Because I had Deftones, there was Disturbed were on there.
Yes.
Oleander and all these other bands that did nothing else. I always loved the song Body Crumbles. That was pretty much every burlesque artist I've ever seen has done a routine to Forsaken from this movie.
Yeah.
But in the movie, it's Jonathan Davies' voice. And so right at the start of this movie, it always weirded me out because it starts off with a Lestat's band music video. And it's Stuart Townsend singing, but it's Jonathan Davies' voice. And anyone that loved Korn at the time, it was quite jarring.
It was.
It's like, I know that's not your voice.
Yeah.
How often do you revisit this one?
Not too often, I suppose. It's every now and then when I'm in the mood for it's a bit of sexy vampire action.
It's got its moments, but I will say that this one is a little bit more boring than Interview the Vampire. I think Interview the Vampire is structured better. This tries to be an action movie a bit more.
Yeah.
But it's all the parts between the action in this one where you find out, this is, this is a descendant of Lestat that's after him and he's after her. And it's like, we get it. We totally get it.
It's a bit tacky, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like it really is, but I just...
This is maybe one of the best time capsules of 2002, though, because everyone was listening to this music.
Yeah.
It's what everyone was dressing like this because, emo hadn't quite happened yet. So we're all getting our black T-shirts and, it was a time. But, I think it's a lot of fun and I'm pretty sure it's on all the streaming services, so it's definitely worth checking out. But I wouldn't say to watch this and Interview the Vampire around the same time because they are so complete different entities. Even though they're like sequel, they're just so different in so many ways, style and everything. This is the back tattoo version of the sexy vampire, whereas Interview the Vampire is the quill and the fluffy jackets and stuff like that. So they're both great movies, but for different reasons. And I like this one. It was considered a commercial failure because it was made for about 35 mil, but only made 45 mil. Which, if you take into account advertising and stuff, it's considered a flop. But I'm sure it would have made it back on late stage VHS and early stage DVD. Well, believe it or not, it is time to do the quiz. So we will go to one more song and we will come back and find all about Madeleine here on 100.5 WOW FM. Let's get back into the music.
But I think that the music was a little loud.
Are you afraid of it?
No. I just don't like techno.
You would if you had robot ears.
On 100.5 WOW FM.
I hate your face.
Did you say something?
This is Dave's Video Graveyard, and it is time for the most important element of any DVG. We have heard from Jamie. The man in the chair has filled us in on a lot of stuff that we missed. So he said that, yes, he totally agrees. 10 Things I Hate About You has a great soundtrack. The movie I was trying to think of that had Robert Pattinson and James Bond in it was called Remember Me.
Oh my God, yes.
And he said the timeline is Colin Farrell turned into Johnny Depp, and then Johnny Depp turns into Mad Mikkelsen in the Strange Creatures or whatever it's called.
Fantastic.
And the Newt Scamander movies.
Yeah.
The fist-faced movies. So thank you so much, Jamie. Without you, we would be completely lost, and it's awesome to have you back on the station. Of course, future episode coming out with Jamie, whatever he wants it to be. Now, more importantly, this evening, we are joined by Madeleine Donner, a fantastic all-round artist. You do a whole heap of stuff. You do a bit of dancing, a bit of poetry. Is there anything you can't do? Do you want to leave some talent for the rest of us?
I'm not that talented, really. I just,
Well, what are we doing here? You can go now. Thank you very much. No, we have the High Fidelity quiz that I completely missed earlier. The reason it's called the High Fidelity quiz, it was stole from Shannon here on WOW FM. He guest hosted once and wrote a great quiz, so we stole it from him after he left.
Okay.
But we give him full credit for letting us steal it. Now, this is to get an idea of who you are as a movie watcher and basically a bit of background also on who you are.
Mm-hmm.
What was your local video store growing up?
That would be... Well, I moved around a lot, but I think one that has really stuck in my memory would be Atlantic Video down at Semaphore.
Oh, lovely. A few blocks from it. That gets probably the most love out of any local video store.
That was amazing. And they had the dolphin, I think, on painted
on the
in the car
window.
park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Pretend you're 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
What is your favourite TV show, ice cream, junk food, book and toy?
Okay, so...
Starting with TV show.
TV show, well, I think it could have been Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Good answer.
I think that came out when I was 10.
That's fun.
I was obsessed with that. So we'll say that's what I was watching when I was 10.
Only just recently revisited the movie that it was based on.
Yeah.
Great movie.
Yeah.
Loved it. What was your favourite ice cream?
Ice cream, I would say, if we're talking like ice cream flavour, boysenberry ice cream.
Nice. Junk food.
Junk food, pizza.
Lovely.
It still is my favourite.
Timeless classic.
Yes.
There's nothing more unforgiving. There's two things, like, personally for me, when it comes to unforgiving. It is because I'm a fan. I know I look like I only drink water and I run long distance. Whenever I have a milkshake and it's not cold, like it gets served and it's like, you know, not totally cold, that's unacceptable. But if a place ruins pizza, like the most unruinable thing on earth, and I'm not just talking about adds pineapple, but if you get bad
like
pizza,
pineapple?
I do not on.
Oh,
it's the texture. It's not for me. What about your favorite book as a kid?
Book. I was obsessed with the Goosebumps books.
Lovely.
And and the point thrillers. Do you remember those?
I do.
Yeah. So they were kind of like the step up from Goosebumps. Like when I was getting a little bit older.
I'm a grown up, Mum. I'm a grown up.
Yeah, I can read the point thrillers now.
And your favorite toy?
I had this teddy bear from Just Jeans, and I named him Justin Just Jeans.
Was he denim?
He had like denim, I think, like on his feet and his hands.
Wow.
And
And his name was Justin.
Justin Just Jeans. I still have him. He was my favorite, I reckon.
That's rad that you still have him.
Yeah.
Now, pretend it's not the world that we live in now. Pretend it was like 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Would you prefer to watch a movie at home or at the cinemas?
I think at home.
Because you don't have to put pants on.
Yeah, this is true.
And what's your food of choice when you do go to the cinema?
Well, popcorn, of course. And I like to bring in a stash of my own lollies as well.
Oh, what constitute your own lolly mix?
I can't go past raspberry licorice.
Nice. Nice. That's awesome. And which film that deserves one didn't get a sequel?
This was a hard one because I would come up with one in my head and then I realised, it did have a sequel. But I thought of the movie Only Lovers Left Alive.
Yes.
Vampire film, another vampire film.
Did that have a sequel?
No.
The other one you thought of, sorry.
Yeah. So this one, I only actually watched it recently, and I was really disappointed with the ending. I was like, oh my God, you can't end it like that. So
100%. Watching that movie, that's where I realised that Tom Hiddleston was an amazing actor. Because I was like, he was so captivating. And, you know, if you can keep up with, like, Tilda Swinton in a movie, that says a lot about you as an actor.
Yeah.
And I thought it was so good. And, yeah, like you say, such a disappointing ending.
Yeah, they definitely could. They could, make another film. Definitely.
Which fictional character do you relate to the most?
Oh. This was another hard one.
Is it Nancy from The Craft?
No. Actually, look, I'm gonna cop a lot of shit for this, but I relate to Bella Swan from Twilight in a way. If you read the books, Kristen Stewart. No, I had to say this because I dream of, a vampire falling in love with me and turning me into a vampire so I can live forever. So I thought, that's how I relate to her in a sense.
I'll play it again. I'll do it. That's fine. These are your questions. They're not my questions.
It's horrible. It's
about
embarrassing.
Don't be embarrassed. You're opening up and we're finding about your childhood teddy bear, and then that comes out and everyone's like, oh, weirdo.
Yeah.
Who would play you in your biopic?
I chose... oh my God. Hang on. Emma Stone. Emma Stone.
Wow.
Yeah. I think that she's kind of a little bit quirky, a little bit weird, but she's a bit of a badass as well. And I think that I think she could really get into my personality and really, I'd be happy with her playing me.
Nice, that's fine. It's a total ego boost. So you pick. It's totally your call. What is the main title song in your biopic?
Black Magic Woman by Fleetwood Mac.
Nice, a classic.
Yes.
You're very witchy. You're very witchy in a lot of your answers. It's coming through, but it's fine. Which TV show or movie from your childhood would you personally reboot?
Captain Planet.
Lovely answer.
Yeah.
That's a good one. If you could drive one vehicle from any movie, what would it be?
Well, I couldn't think of a vehicle from a movie, but I hope it's
You'd
okay.
like to ride on Edward while he jogs? Like a motorbike?
Perhaps. But I chose a car from a TV series. This car is like a character in itself. The 67 Chev Impala from Supernatural. But I would want Sam Winchester by my side.
So you're one of those gals.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Say no more. So much of this is all tying together and making so much sense. If you could add your favourite fictional character to any other film, who would you choose and what would it be?
I think... hang on a minute.
You're just going to put Sam Winchester in your favourite porno, aren't you?
No. I think Vince Noir from The Mighty Boosh.
Yes.
I think he would go great in Austin Powers.
Oh,
right?
that would be perfect.
Yeah, right? Like, yeah, because he's...
That almost makes too much sense.
Maybe.
Which actors or actresses go on your Mount Rushmore of famous people?
So this is 4?
4
yes,
people.
4.
Can be actors, can be actresses. There doesn't have to be any link. They're just who you would glorify with their own Mount Rushmore.
Okay. Number one, all-time favourite actor is Johnny Depp.
Yep.
Johnny Depp has to be there. Heath Ledger, of course. Leonardo DiCaprio as well. And I think Helena Bonham Carter as well.
Yep.
And I had a few more. I have to mention Daniel Radcliffe because he's as you were saying before, like I think you were saying he's getting older, like his acting is incredible.
He's proven that he's more than Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Over and over again. I love a lot of his indie work. I really loved Horns. It was an amazing movie. And even Swiss Army Man, where he plays a dead body.
Incredible.
What a movie.
Right.
What a role. Like, it's like, hey, Harry Potter, what are you doing next? Dead body.
Yeah.
Do what you want. Guns Akimbo was also fantastic. But, he's really proved himself.
He has.
Now, I feel like everyone, when they pick their Mount Rushmore, everyone's thinking, like, from the shoulders up. But I kind of got this look in your eye while you were talking. I feel like you would want full naked, full body forms for your Mount Rushmore.
Well, what can I say? I mean, of course.
It's weird that you've even sketched out that on the book here this evening. It's quite worrying, but that's totally fine. Let's get back into your next choice. This is 100.5 WOWFM.
To the other kids at St. Bernard Academy, they were the girls who didn't belong.
Whatever you do, stay away from them.
Why?
They're witches.
But after years of being on the outside...
Why'd you lie about me?
I don't want to go out with you again. Please, stop begging. It's pathetic.
4 girls are about to discover the dark side.
You ever heard of invoking the spirit? Black magic.
We can make things happen. I mean, this is it. This is real.
Columbia Pictures welcomes you to the witching hour.
Check it out. Her spell is working. Sit.
The Craft.
You girls watch out for those weirdos.
We are the weirdos, mister.
The amount of incense shops that must have just absolutely sold out of pentagrams and stuff in 1996 because of this movie. I must say, Madeleine Donner, your 90s is showing.
Yeah.
You have chosen from 1996 The Craft, which is everyone's big sister's favourite movie from the 1990s.
Yes.
Why did you choose this movie?
This, well, it's a classic. It's a classic. And I think for me, you know, like when I saw this movie, I was like, yes, I want to be a witch. You know, I want to be just like them. I think like every girl who saw this, or not just girl, every person who saw this was like, I want to be a witch. I want to do magic.
Yep. Everyone I know in high school did light as a feather, stiff as a board because of this movie. Yeah. I can't help but think 1996, Neve Campbell and Skeet Ulrich, who everyone thought was going to be the next Johnny Depp because he looked like the Bilo brand Johnny Depp, and he just never went on to do anything amazing other than Chill Factor. They're an amazing movie from '99, but yeah, this movie was it was a cultural phenomenon. But it just blows my mind to think that Skeet Ulrich and Neve Campbell were in both this and Scream in the same year. What a year of film for them. Like, honestly, that was two of the biggest cultural films of the year, I reckon, at that time. This movie has a massive cult following. Like you say, many school books had pentagrams drawn in them because of this movie. The church has got upset, which is always a sign of a great movie. This movie really comes up quite often on people's lists, but I can see why you love it. And I'm still scared of Fairuza Balk because of this movie. Yeah. Like, I was scared of her because she played Dorothy in the sequel to Wizard of Oz, Return to Oz. Okay. And that scared me so much as a kid. Whereas this movie, she still scares me. Even when she was in The Waterboy, she's terrifying.
Yeah, she is.
How often do you revisit this one? How many pencil cases have you drawn pentagrams on?
No, well, I still draw. Oh, look, I've drawn a pentagram in the book today.
Nice.
I pretty often I kind of maybe like once a year kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't own this one on DVD, unfortunately. But yeah, I never grow sick of it. Never.
Because, you know, you've had your section of sexy vampires, but now it's sexy witches time.
Yes.
And it always bothered me that, like, they all had these powers and they're amazing, but the infighting is what tore them apart. Like, they could have been essentially like super villains.
Yeah.
But they just, you know, they fell apart because they just all the infighting.
Yeah. They could have been an amazing. Yeah. It's odd that they didn't work out as a coven.
I just wonder how many people became witches because of this movie.
Yeah.
Like, surely it would have been the biggest, much like when Top Gun came out and everyone suddenly wanted to join the, like, Navy and the Air Force.
Yeah.
This was like I want to be Wiccan. Like, this is what I want to do. And then it kind of kick-started a lot of movies that were based on this kind of thing. You know, a couple years later, 1999, we got Blair Witch Project. And the sequel to Blair Witch, called Book of Shadows, is so similar to The Craft, but like a more serious version of The Craft.
Okay.
It was that very... for lack of a better term, it was the hot goth chick witches was one of the main driving forces of that movie. I'm surprised there's not more new metal in this movie for 1996. It was a bit early, but it does have one of those timeless soundtracks that just ties it to the year that it was made.
Yes.
Much like your next choice, but you won't have time to play the trailer, but Cruel Intentions.
Cruel Intentions.
We did this on the podcast, and it turned out to be the dirtiest episode that we've done because it's a very sexually driven film.
Yes.
And revisiting it, you realise that no one in this movie is a good person. Nobody in this whole movie.
Yeah.
Selma Blair's probably the closest to a good person in this movie. But the characters are all so unbearable. Obviously, Buffy's in there, so you would have been in love.
Yeah.
Every, not to generalise, but every female on Earth was in love with Ryan Phillippe when this movie came out.
Such a heartthrob.
He was. It put Placebo on the map for a lot of people as well. Because I still, to this day, hear Every You, Every Me and think of this movie.
Yes, me too. Me too. Yeah.
Anything else about this movie that you love?
I think I think this movie, I love, the love story in it, and the tragic ending. It's so sad. But it is a really sexy movie, and I think like when I first saw it, I was still pretty young, so it was a bit risque for me seeing
100%.
it, and then and it kind of like it got me. I think it got me curious about about sex and stuff like that.
This is quite often on this show and on our podcast. This movie and Wild Things comes up, and they're both massive sexual awakening movies for people because they're like, I've never felt this feeling before.
Yeah. So I think seeing this as like a like when you're going through puberty and you see this movie, it's like, okay, yeah.
This makes me feel feelings.
Yeah.
I want my own Ryan Phillippe. Where can I purchase one?
Yes, please.
There was a couple of sequels that no one that I know has bothered to check out.
I haven't, no, yeah.
Why bother? The first one was perfectly self-contained.
Yeah.
It's also sad looking back. Like, this movie was made for $10 million, made $70 million, which is no surprise because everyone in my school saw this movie. One thing I've always said about this movie, because 99, I was in year like 7 or 8, like one of those years. And this was that movie where the boys could go see it and enjoy it, and the girls could go see it and enjoy it. So it was kind of that crossover film where it was like, it was dirty enough for us, like teenage boys, to love it, and it was rom-com enough for like a lot of the girls to love it. And it was, I know they're generalizations, but at the time, it's what it was to us. It was like,
it's true.
This was the date movie, which when you couple that with the weird feelings you get from this movie, it was an important time in film.
Yeah, definitely.
We've done a special on our podcast about the year 1999, and they're all movies like this. So like the likes of this, Urban Legend, a lot of the horror movies and stuff with teenagers. Do you revisit this one quite often? I know it's just been put on the streaming services.
I do revisit this quite often. Do
you still get those feelings? Is that too straightforward and personal?
No. Oh, look, like, that sex scene with Ryan Phillippe and Reese with a spoon, like when she.
There's a spoon.
It's just
That face that she pulls in the car haunts me, and still to this day she pops up in things like modern day. And I just see that every now and then. You see glimpses of that face that she does in the car.
Yeah, when she's trying to make him laugh.
When she's trying to make him laugh and trying to be ugly. And it's just, it's so weird. Like, once you see that, it changes your perspective on her as an actress. Well, mine anyway. So, that is Cruel Intention. I believe it is time that we'll go down the family route now. Let's check out one of your family choices.
Okay.
Mom! Dad!
We stopped him!
Where are you going? Where are you going? We're gonna miss the plane!
Did you count heads? 11, including me. 5 boys, 6 girls, 4 parents, and a partridge in a pear tree. Did we miss the flight? No, you just made it.
Welcome aboard Flight 1275 to Paris, France.
I have a terrible feeling.
So which house you want to hit first, huh?
About what?
That we didn't do something.
Crowbars up.
Now you feel that way because we left in such a hurry.
Do we set the timers on the lights?
Mm-hmm.
Did you lock up?
Yeah.
Did you close the garage?
That's it. I forgot to close the garage, that's it.
No, that's not it.
What else can we be forgetting?
Kevin!
Home Alone.
This is my house. I have to defend it. Yes!
Starring Macaulay Culkin.
Up here, you morons! Come and get me!
Joe Pesci. Daniel Stern.
Somebody pick up.
Catherine O'Hara. John Hurd.
Do you speak English?
And John Candy.
I got a feeling this is going to be your best Christmas ever.
Home Alone, a new comedy from John Hughes, directed by Chris Columbus.
You guys give up or you're thirsty for more?
Coming this Christmas.
This movie was specifically written for, well, basically around Macaulay Culkin after what a strong performance he put in Uncle Buck. So John Hughes and Chris Columbus were both involved with that movie, and they were so in love with what Macaulay Culkin did in that. They're like, we need this kid in a movie.
Wow.
And because of it, we were given the 1990 classic Home Alone.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you choose this movie?
Okay, when I was a kid, this movie was like everything, and I fell in love with Macaulay Culkin. I was convinced I was going to marry him.
Yeah,
he was. I just had such a crush on him, and it's just Macaulay Culkin. It's all about Macaulay Culkin. This movie. That's why I love it.
Yeah,
yeah.
And how do you feel to know that he turned 40 this year?
Oh my God! Really?
I know. Yeah,
I mean, that's not much older than me, but
yeah, but still, it's just
wow.
In your mind, like you just picture Kevin McAllister, like at his age. This movie, I would put this in a list of perfect movies.
Mm-hmm.
Between this, I think Groundhog Day. There's a couple of movies that are absolutely timeless and classics. My family watched this movie every Christmas.
Yes,
it's one of the go-tos.
Yeah.
And you know. It's funny, like there was a video online a couple of years ago where they broke down that like pretty much everything Kevin does to those people would kill them in real life. I was like, So, and I believe there's a Mythbusters episode on the same thing where they tested how lethal everything he did.
Yeah.
And they said that after the first paint can, that would be it. Like that would be both the criminals dead. This movie is so good, and it was made at a time where kids' movies and family movies still had a little bit of darkness to them because, you know, it is a great movie, but the things like him being scared of the fire thing downstairs, like the thermostat, all that kind of stuff, you wouldn't get that in a kid's movie now because they'd be like, oh, that's too scary. But this movie it was so perfect. And it was the highest grossing live action movie until the second Hangover movie was released.
Oh, wow.
Which is that was 2011. So that's a huge run.
Wow.
That's almost 20 years as the highest grossing comedy. Did you like the sequel?
I can't even quite remember the sequel because this is the only one that I revisit out of all the Home Alones. I think, was there a third one? And
there was. It had French Stewart from Third Rock from the Sun in it. It was terrible.
Because Macaulay Culkin wasn't in that one.
No, it was another little kid.
I was not happy about that. I was like, whoa, now, you can't do that.
What about, did you see there was another movie that my son loves called The Page Master, which was about Macaulay Culkin gets sucked into a storybook and it's an animated film.
Okay.
But it's him as a cartoon and it's fantastic. Like, I never got to see it as a kid. I saw it as an adult because my son became obsessed with it on video.
Yeah.
And I love that movie as well. I highly recommend that to you
because
because
I'll have to watch it.
It's peak Macaulay Culkin era, so it's really good. He also did a movie between Home Alone 1 and Home Alone 2 called The Good Son. And it had him and Elijah Wood from Lord of the Rings as kids. And Kevin McAllister. Macaulay Culkin was the evil child.
Okay.
And that kept trying to kill his cousins and stuff.
Wow.
It's like a full-on horror movie. It is so perfectly cast because Macaulay Culkin was like the age he was in Home Alone, but playing so opposite who he is in this movie. And I really highly recommend it. And of course, he got killed by bees in the first My Girl movie, which breaks everybody's heart.
That was
not last year, the year before. My daughter and son my son Ollie went as Macaulay Culkin he went as Thomas from My Girl, and my daughter dressed as Little Bee. So that was the lovely little costume we did that year. This movie is so good.
It's a classic. Like it is like, and as you mentioned before, like it's a Christmas movie. Like it's become my tradition. Every Christmas Eve, I watch this, and I don't get sick of it. And it's so funny, like the big scene at the end, you know, where he has to protect the house, and like you were saying, all the things he does to the two bad guys, like that's so brutal, but yeah,
he's we just got a message from Jamie saying that there's actually 5 Home Alone movies.
Oh my God, 5.
Yeah, so there's only 2 that matter to me. He
Yes.
also said that you're wrong about pizza. Pineapple does not belong on pizza.
No, I'm all about pineapple on pizza.
But pineapple to me on pizza is the same texture as prawns, and I don't like seafood.
Okay.
So there's just that. It's the texture thing. It doesn't belong on. Doesn't belong there. So you've been proven wrong by the man in the chair.
Okay.
You've been mansplained to. Now you know.
Okay.
Now you have chosen an all-time classic, and you've chosen a movie that's one of the most highly touted romantic movies of all time. It's from 1997. It was one of the highest grossing films of all time, and it was beaten by the director. He beat himself and made the following highest grossing movie. So let's check out what that movie is.
Take a journey back in time in search of a mystery locked beneath the sea. This January, you will be given the key.
We're going to America.
Oh, forget it, Boyle. You'll never get next to the likes of her.
Don't come any closer. Oh, let go.
No, you won't.
You are not to see that boy again.
I'm the king of the world!
What made you think you could put your hands on my fiancée?
It's not up to you to save me, Jack.
He's got you trapped. If you don't break free, you're gonna die.
It's a ship. There's only so many places she can be. Find her.
The water is freezing and there aren't enough boats. Half the people on the ship are going to die.
For God's sake, there's women and children down here! Let us know so we can have a chance!
Where are you going? What to him?
You jump, I jump, right?
I hope you enjoy your time together!
And God shall wipe away all the tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death.
It's time to talk about bad guys. Billy Zane. It is 1997's Titanic, picked by my very lovely guest this evening. Why did you pick this movie?
This movie was another huge movie for me. Like in my childhood, I went to the movies to see it, and of course, everyone knew that Jack dies at the end. And so
what? I never got to the end. I thought it was about a happy boat cruise. Oh my God, does everyone know?
Oh my God, spoiler.
I thought it was a 2-hour Celine Dion music video.
But yeah, this movie, well, I think, it really sparked my love for Leonardo DiCaprio as well, of course. Everyone surely fell in love with him in
Everyone
this movie.
got the throb from this one.
And there's a scene where he draws Rose and Kate Winslet, when you see her beautiful breasts.
Boobies.
And it's like, oh my God, boobs in a movie. Like,
that's how I choose the movies I'll watch.
Yeah.
I just remember it had everything. And like I was saying, this is another one of those crossover movies where the boys could go and enjoy it, but not admit it. And the girls loved this movie, and everyone was in love with Jack.
Yes.
Not a dry eye in the house. And for years, the internet still argued that 2 people could fit on that cupboard door. There's so many memes to this movie, like, the how happy because the Titanic sank with like some record amount of lobsters on board. And they're like,
Okay.
how happy must those lobsters be? Because essentially they got taken back to the ocean. I haven't revisited this one for many years. A good friend of the show recently did a watch along on his Twitter and said that this movie still holds up, and it's one of those movies you watch and then you're sad for 2 weeks because you just keep thinking about what they could have done to avoid things and stuff. It's funny as well, like quite often the actor that played the guy that built the ship that told them to speed, like, you know, the shipbuilding guy, quite often he pops up to this day in movies, and I'm always like he was in Schitt's Creek, I remember a couple seasons ago, and I was like, I still hate you. You made Jack die because you made them speed up. It's all your fault.
Yeah.
And also, it blew my mind because the Rose's mother, the redhead lady. No, it wasn't Rose's mother. It was one of the other ladies on board that had the 2 daughters. She was the Irish lady on board. She's telling her kids what to do and stuff, and you see them throughout the movie. Anyway, she was played by the actor that was the super muscly Latino actress in the Alien movie. And
oh, wow.
It's just so weird to see her both ends of the scale. She's also John Connor's stepmother in Terminator 2. Not that any of that matters to you, because we're talking about Titanic. It's just amazing. James Cameron, you know, a man known for like all these massive action movies. He made Aliens, Terminator 2, to then turn around and go like, no, I really love underwater. This is the movie I want to make. And it went on to win so many Oscars. He made the famous speech when he got up and he said, I'm the king of the world, after winning, I think it was about like 7 Oscars and stuff. It was made for $200 million, which was unthinkable at the time because they actually built the giant water tank and stuff. But it went on to make $2.195 billion.
Okay.
So they did all right. They got their investment back. They're okay.
Yeah.
Uncle James. And the only movie that made more money than this was 2010's Avatar.
Oh,
but
right.
now, you know, the Avengers Endgame has gone on to be the number 1. But that's not a bad run. Until 2010, this was the highest grossing movie of all time. It's I don't want to say it's a chick flick because I've got to stop saying things like that, but it really was the be-all, end-all when it comes to romantic movies for a very long time. Jack set a pretty high bar, and you've also got to look at it from the point of view of like, how many relationships have you had that lasted less than a full day and they've been this meaningful?
Yeah, I know.
I know many people have drowned like on their one-day romances, but I don't think quite to this extent.
Yeah. No.
When's the last time you watched this one?
Maybe like could have been last year or the year before. Again, I don't revisit it too often because it's really long. When I was obsessed with this, like when it first came out, we had it on video, and I think I watched it like 20 times or something. Like it was, I was definitely obsessed. But it's funny, like it doesn't matter how many times I've seen it, I never get sick of it, and always cry at the end. Always.
It's the rules. It is the rules of this movie.
It's so emotional.
Anyway, it is time we played a little bit more music because when we come back, it is poetry time.
Okay.
This is 100.5 WOWFM. 100.5 WOWFM. This is Dave's Video Graveyard. We've got 15 minutes till Krez is in the chair. But until then, it is a guest choice special. Madeleine Donner, one of the most lovely people you'll ever find. Make sure you check out all her social media. It is time for you to do a little bit of poetry.
Wonderful. Thank you.
No pressure whatsoever. You will be judged harshly. But,
oh, God.
So, how old's this poem you're about to read us?
I believe I wrote this last year, this one. Last year, I read a lot of poetry. I think the most poetry I've ever like written. It's just I got so much inspiration. Maybe it was something to do with COVID. I don't know. But so this is from last year. Now I've chosen. I like to write erotic poetry, but this I thought I can't read anything too naughty on the radio, so I've kept it like PG. no dirty words. But here we go. Okay, so this poem is called Spring flowers. This sacred body of mine aches for a certain kind of touch. A man who understands that my breasts are poetry, and that a garden of spring flowers blooms from between my thighs. For I am not merely a woman. I'm a goddess of the moon, and a witch with the magic of the earth in my blood. From my lips I speak of passion, and my mouth is proficient in the ways of pleasure. I am an artist and a poet, and sex is my medium and my muse. I simply cannot be sated with the ordinary.
That was fantastic.
Thank you.
I hope I didn't make anything creepy or anything that whole time. That was fantastic.
No. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to read one of my poems on the air.
Anytime. I'm quite scared now that more people are going to want you to do this show next week than me. But just get her back to do that thing again.
More poems.
I think you've just had a Cruel Intentions moment for a lot of our listeners. I'm like, I didn't know that poetry could make me feel that way. So, well done. Let's get back into your next choice. This is DVG.
From me, I'm as harmless as cherry pie. Those are your hands. Those are your hands. I think you should just come home with me.
Joyce, I just saw this strange guy driving with Peg. Did you get a good look at it?
Hi! Scissors.
Whoa! Heck of a handshake you got there, Ed.
Kim, this is Edward, who's gonna live with us.
Well, this must be quite a change for you, right, Ed?
Those things are cool.
Can I bring him to show and tell on Monday?
He's a highly imaginative character. It seems clear that his awareness of what we call reality is radically underdeveloped.
Eddie, you take my very breath away. Do you have a girlfriend?
Aww. Is there some special lady in your life?
Doctor skewered Kim.
Just a scratch. The power of Satan is in him. I can feel it.
Drop your weapon!
All along, I felt in my gut there was something wrong with him.
From Tim Burton comes the most incredible tale of a most unusual character. Edward Scissorhands.
Hold me. I can't.
No.
It is 100.5 WOW FM. Great off-air question just before we come back. Edward Scissorhands from 1990. I can't believe this movie came out the same year as Home Alone.
Wow.
So that is pretty exciting. Directed by the amazing Tim Burton, perhaps one of his most strongest outputs. He had an amazing run from like 89. He did Batman. Then I believe it was 91 he did 87 was Beetlejuice, then Batman, and then Edward Scissorhands, which is an amazing run of movies. A lot of people have kind of written off Tim Burton now as like, a has-been or whatever, but he did Frankenweenie like a few years ago, which is a fully animated. That movie was fantastic and very very Tim Burton-y, and even the live-action Dumbo he did was kind of very Tim Burton. Why did you choose this movie?
Johnny Depp, favorite actor. I think this would have to be my all-time favorite Johnny Depp movie, and it's just, I don't know. It kind of stands in its. I feel like it stands in its own league. This movie. There's nothing else out there like Edward Scissorhands.
No.
It's just
the closest to it is Beetlejuice.
Yeah, and it's just so. it's so creative as well. Like it's just so beautiful. Like the aesthetics of it and everything. It's and it's got that love story, but it's like a tragic love story, you know, like they can't be together at the end, and it's just so sad but so beautiful. I definitely all-time favorite Johnny Depp movie, this one.
Nice. Do you still love him as a pirate?
Yeah. Johnny Depp, he's just like a god to me.
Do you have a secret folder of Johnny Depp poetry that no one's allowed to know about? Because I feel like there is. I'm getting the look in your eye like there is. This movie is timeless. It is insanely well made. You know, one thing that Tim Burton was known for was the visuals he could get on the budgets that he was given. This movie informed so many... I feel like so many musicians saw this movie and went on to start bands like, you know, My Chemical Romance, and, you know, even there's like Good Charlotte music videos that are just cut, copy, paste Beetlejuice and, you know, Edward Scissorhands. And you actually, because she had a lot of like real life drama and stuff, it's kind of easy to forget what an amazing actress Winona Ryder was, especially they were a real life couple after this movie.
Yeah.
And it comes across. There's something about the love that they show in this movie that's just done so well. Do you like a lot of Tim Burton movies?
I guess I wouldn't say like I'm a diehard Tim Burton fan, but I appreciate all of his work. But this is, this was the only one of his films that I really got like obsessed with. Yeah.
Yep. Well, believe it or not, it's time for your final film.
Okay.
This is DVG.
There it is.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
We've made living biological attractions so astounding that they'll capture the imagination of the entire planet.
The most phenomenal discovery of our time
How'd you do this?
becomes the greatest adventure of all time.
Can I touch it?
Sure.
Universal Pictures presents
You feel that?
Hold on to your butts.
a Steven Spielberg film.
Fences are failing all over the park.
Yeah, that's nice. Gotta go.
An adventure.
Look out! Down!
I can't get Jurassic Park back online.
65 million years in the making. Jurassic Park.
1993, the entire world was changed by one little movie. That little movie being Jurassic Park from Steven Spielberg. One thing I was just thinking about listening to that trailer, it blows my mind that a movie made in 1993 about dinosaurs, to this day, they haven't made a better movie about dinosaurs.
No.
It just hasn't happened. It hasn't been topped. There's been many a sequel and, you know, the franchise has expanded. But they just haven't recaptured the magic of this first one.
No, I agree.
Is this one of your childhood favourites?
Yes. This is like... This sparked my obsession with dinosaurs. So when this came out, I saw it at the movies with my family, and I was just enthralled and captivated. And yeah, as I said, I went on to become obsessed with dinosaurs. I did like school projects on them. I had like dinosaur like Lego, dinosaur toys. I even have a Jurassic Park coffee mug that I got like way back when the movie came out that I still have to this day, and I drink from it every morning. That's like my mug. No one touches that mug. This movie, it just, I don't know, it. And the raptors, the scene with the raptors in the kitchen.
In the kitchen, what a scene.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I've always loved about Jurassic Park. It manages to be the best of everything that it tries.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the horror that it does in that kitchen is insanely amazing. A lot of the comedy is amazing in this movie as well. Revisiting it recently, I absolutely love when Alan Grant absolutely shuts down that shit of a kid that's like talking crap about raptors, and he's like, how would you like him to come up and cut your belly open and stuff? I was like, you don't say that to a kid, but I love it. This is a timeless classic. Like, this has to be on every list of movies you must see. You need to see this at least once.
I agree.
Awesome. What do you think about all the sequels?
I love them all, actually. Yeah.
I loved the second one because it was dinosaurs in the city. The third one was annoying because of that ringtone that's inside of one of the dinosaurs that had that Nokia ringtone.
Oh, I can't remember.
It's the pterodactyl one, the movie. It's the less good one in my opinion. But then they come out with Jurassic World, which my kids loved the first one.
I loved that.
And I loved Jurassic Fallen Kingdom as well, which was very Indiana Jones. It felt like a Steven Spielberg movie because it was very, running away from lava, running away from explosions. And it had one of the coolest tear-jerking scenes in that movie, which was when the Diplodocus or Brontosaurus that you see in the first movie gets basically gotten by the earthquake. The volcano, and you see it stand on the pier and do the same movement that it did in the first Jurassic Park movie when they first see them.
Yes.
Like, that is well written. Believe it or not, that is all the time we have this evening.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining us. Where can people check you out on social media?
On my Instagram. Sorry, mental blank. Under Madeleine Donner. You can find me.
Or just head over to Dave's Video Graveyard and we'll link you over. Just head on over that way. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure. Fantastic 10 list. Of course, anything you missed out this evening, you can check out on davesvideograveyard.com later in the week. This is 100.5 WOW FM. Stick around for Chris.